BMW stock brakes with 440 horsepower don't work. And these brakes on this M240i are already upgraded and they're already much better than stock, and they're still not very good. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about stock brakes on these high performance BMWs and why they don't do the job. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with this car, this is a BMW M240i. This is BMW's, guess you could say, generation up from the N55, which came in the M235i. However, this car is crazy power and it does a really good job of putting it down. However, the thing that lets it down are the brakes. Now, don't get me wrong, of course, when BMW made this engine, they thought the car would be pushing around 330 brake, what it's meant to have. However, this car's not. It's got about 110 to 120 more horsepower. And obviously the downside to this is, it's all good having the horsepower, and it's what I say all the time, but it's no good if you can't stop. And this is the downside to these cars. The calipers on these cars are great. However, I definitely think the pads and the discs and the lines, as a matter of fact, definitely let it down. Now, the reason I'm saying all this is I'm not comparing an M Lite to an M car. Obviously, they are on completely different levels. One's the extreme BMW all singing, all dancing. The other one's a slightly more budget variant. However, my mate took his M3 G80 on Nürburgring. Stock brakes, lap after lap after lap. They were faultless. They didn't overheat, they didn't fade, they were fantastic. The M240i, on the other hand, the same story as my M235i, which now has a crazy upgraded brake system. However, that's a different story. If you do a few pulls and you then brake hard again and again and again, you get brake fade like there's no tomorrow. I've never seen a car like it, and this is the problem with these BMWs. They come with like crazy potential, a B58, which we all know the potential of that engine, but then they slap some crazy bad brakes on it. It's just crazy to me. We'll be taking this thing for a drive in just a minute, and then I'll show you guys exactly how bad these brakes are. However, a little bit of backstory. The car is on a MHD Stage 2 OTS, so around 450 brake depending on what fuel is in the tank, and pretty much we don't know what brakes have been put on this. It's got some single piece drilled discs on the front with some pads that we don't know because obviously previous owner fitted them. Now that's irrelevant. The downside to me is the fact that BMW don't do braided lines anymore. The fact that we've got rubber hoses which then stretch when they get hot is a pain to me, and that's why I changed everything on the M235i. And everybody knows that the rears don't do a crazy amount of braking on any car really, apart from obviously the front, which does the majority. Crazy thing to me is the fact that the disc is actually bigger on the back. The rear discs on these have a much larger diameter than the front, which to me doesn't make any sense. So if anybody has answers to that in the comment section, please do let me know. I'm mad curious about it. However, I did mention this before, the suspension has all been set up on this car nicely now. It's had loads of stuff done, new steering wheel, tune, you name it. So the next thing to do is definitely sort the brakes out, because it's a massive letdown. And like I've said before, you want to be able to stop. If you're going quite fast or you're tracking this car, you want to have that reliability that you know you're going to stop, not end up in a hedge. Let me know what you guys think to the new Alcantara steering wheel as well. This thing was actually fitted the other day, and I'll tell you what, it is absolutely incredible. I love it to bits. Not on this car particular, but 100% on the M235i. I definitely got brake fade in that countless times, and I got so fed up of it, I decided to go for some crazy pads, some crazy discs, and also braided lines, as well as a much better fluid. So now that this thing's warmed up and the oil temp is good, let's get a few little clips of driving and see what this thing sounds like, as well as what it pulls like. I love the fact that the B58 takes a little bit longer to rev up. The N55 seems a little bit more naturally aspirated, whereas this thing feels like you have to kind of get it going for it to rev up, which I kind of like. And obviously we're not going out purposely to destroy the brakes, because I know for a matter of fact that if I did give this car a hard time and I did drive it around pretty hard, the brakes would basically be fading in no time. I've had personal experience with the M235i and it's very easy to do. Alright, I've switched the map up a little bit. I've turned it onto map 1, which is the mild pop and bangs for about a second. So let's hear what this thing sounds like. Shut off, my life. Oh my goodness me. This is why I'm telling you, MHD, BMW, it's amazing. B58 with no burbles though with this intake. What a car, what a car. We are in sport, we're in map 3, which is basically the map with pop and bangs completely mapped out as well. So we'll do a little second gear pull here. That shut off on the end. Whoever designed that in the BMW lab, I just want to give you a medal because it's one of the best sounding things I've ever heard. Even just braking pretty hard to go down this hill now, you can feel the brakes just basically getting on the edge. And I haven't really driven it hard at all. And that's the thing, I went round Castle Combe, which is a UK race circuit, and I also went around the Nürburgring for multiple laps in the M235i with the brake upgrades that I've done. And that car now handles really well regarding the brake setup. It could be better. Obviously, people fit like a big brake kit, which would obviously be ideal. However, they are crazy money. The stuff I've done to that M235i now makes it work so well for slight track use. It just annoys me that BMW made the B58. They knew that people would tune it because people have been tuning BMWs for countless years, and they knew that obviously the horsepower it was capable of, and then they slap it in a chassis and they give it really, really bad brakes. To me, just doesn't make sense. However, it does sound like it's just basically telling me to get an upgrade. So I do think that's definitely on the cards for sure. Because it would be amazing to track this car, but obviously going on track knowing you've got bad brakes, especially with a slightly heavy car, because these 2 Series, they're not the lightest cars in the world. Obviously, if you have like a mini or a small hatchback kind of thing, which is light, brakes really don't need to be crazy big. But on these type of cars, which are quite heavy, you can see why they definitely need an upgrade. So yeah, let's park this 450 horsepower, I guess you could say weapon, up in the garage tonight. Let it rest down, give it time for the turbo to cool down because you've driven it pretty hard. And yeah, let it rest for another day before it has more abuse. So let me know your opinion on what you think we should do brake-wise for this. I listened to a lot of you guys in the comment section about the M235i. However, I think it would be really good to definitely upgrade the brakes on this. If you have any suggestions, then let me know in the comment section. Apart from that, you can give this video a like if you did enjoy it. You can also subscribe if you want to see loads more content on this car, as well as the M235i with the N55 engine. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.